Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Want to call the regularly scheduled November 7th, 2022 meeting of your Board of Commissioners to order. We will start with the invocation that'll be delivered by Father Frank Sebo of the Holy Infant Catholic Church of Reedsville. That'll be followed by, we're going to do a resolution in support of Operation Greenlight for our veterans, and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everyone would please rise and remain standing through the pledge, please.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Let us pray. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and sending your Holy Spirit as we gather together. We pray for the guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would assist us in conducting our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to serve your holy people. Help us to work together and encourage each other in excellence. Allow us always to remain mindful of the needs of our brothers and sisters, the ostracized, and the poor. We ask this in the most powerful name of the Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Resolution supporting Operation Greenlight for veterans. Whereas the residents of Rockingham County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms of way of life enjoyed by our citizens, and whereas Rockingham County seeks to honor these individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all, and whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, and civil services. And whereas there are approximately 700,000 veterans in the state of North Carolina, with over 5,400 of them residing here in Rockingham County. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, with an anticipated 20% increase of service members transitioning in the near future. And whereas studies indicate that 42 to 70% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life. And whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service. And whereas the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel while defending our freedom, and believes that specific recognition should be given them in appreciation for their service to demonstrate the honor and support they have earned. Now, therefore, be it resolved, as we approach Veterans Day 2022, and in observance of Operation Greenlight, Rockingham County, North Carolina encourages its citizens to honor the service and sacrifice and recognize the importance of honoring all those who have made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window of their place of business or residence. Adopted this 7th day of November. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Move adoption of the Operation Greenlight support by this Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Richardson and Commissioner Travis. With that motion and second, all in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. Thank you. And next is the Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by one of our veterans, and that's our Sheriff Sam Page.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Sebo and Sheriff Page, for helping us with that. Next is the approval of tonight's agenda, and you've had a chance to look over the agenda. I do believe that we need to remove item 9 from the agenda is the only modification I'm aware of. With that, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Powell.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye.
Aye.
Next is the consent agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, items on the consent agenda tend to be non-controversial in nature. If you have any questions about items on the consent agenda, please contact our county manager or his staff, and they'll be glad to answer any questions about any item on the consent agenda. With that, do we have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda? Motion by Commissioner Powell. Second by Commissioner Hall. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Then we come to the public comment portion of our meeting. There are rules governing public comment. Mr. Manager, if you
Yes,
would,
sir.
please read those.
Yes, sir. The public comment period shall be for the purpose of allowing members of the public to present any matter pertaining to county business or items on the Board of Commissioners' agenda. Remarks shall be addressed directly to the Board of Commissioners and not to the staff, the audience, or media. The chairperson shall open the public comment period. Any speaker who wishes to speak shall approach the podium and not speak from his or her seat. Each speaker shall clearly state his or her name and physical address when he or she approaches the podium. Each citizen shall be allotted 3 minutes. Citizens will be allowed to yield their time on a specific topic by utilizing one more attendee's time. This will not allow no more than 6 minutes. Your time would be displayed on the monitor in front of you. The time clock will start with 3 minutes unless yielded time to 6 minutes. You will hear a beep at 1 minute to alert you to wrap up your comments. If you already yield time or time was yielded to you, then please let the chairperson know in advance. Speakers will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, or use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person or which, when directed at public officials, is not related to his or her official duties. The Board of Commissioners may accept written comments in lieu of oral statements. Written statements can be delivered to the county manager's office. Mr. Chair?
Thank you. We've had one person sign up, Doug Isley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doug Isley, 1790 Flat Rock Road. I'm not here I'm on the school board, but I'm not here in the capacity of speaking for the board. But just wanted to recognize our ladies 2A championship. The Coach Marty Woods and the McMichael Phoenix ladies volleyball team went to Raleigh this weekend, and they won the state championship, 2A championship. So I just want to give them a shout out. And I also wanted to talk about Rockingham County Schools and our CTE program. We have a great program in our schools, and we have programs like Rockatop that allow students to come in and learn a trade. It's another path that if they don't want to go to a four-year college or get a four-year college degree, they can go to a technical or trade school. We've got career fairs that we have each May. We also have a career fair for our graduating seniors each year. We had quite a few of our students that we had a graduation this past August, and they did a fantastic job, and they've actually worked their way into getting jobs right out of high school. So I just wanted to recognize the great programs that we have in Rockingham County Schools and thank the staff at Rockingham County Schools for all they do for our kids. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. No one else signed up for public comment. So next is a public hearing, and Marzi.
Good evening. This is case 2022-22, the Mitchell rezoning. This is a request for a zoning map amendment to rezone a parcel of land from residential protected to residential agricultural. It's located at 8580 Friendship Church Road in the Williamsburg Township. This is a straight rezoning. The planning board did recommend unanimously 6-0 to recommend approval. As you can see, we're in our southeast quadrant. This is our zoning map. There is this is an area of a large bit of residential protected. It is adjacent to residential agricultural, but we are recommending approval, but not just because it's next to residential agricultural. It's also consistent, plus the area has never been developed through RP. It's still mostly considered what we would now consider RM and RA. Environmental, there's nothing really affecting this parcel. Here's the land use map. It's in our G1 district, and it is near a commercial node, both of which claim that it should be, residentially based. Here's a map showing all the special use permits from the past when manufactured houses were allowed as special use permits. Since 1988, when this zoning was first instituted, the county's constantly been amending it so that manufactured houses could be in this area. Again, alluding to the fact that really probably should not have been RP to begin with. This only constitutes those that have special use permits, not the other ones that were there pre-existing 88. Again, this is consistent with the land use plan. The planning board did recommend approval, and we as staff don't see any issues with this whatsoever.
Any questions before we open the public hearing? If not, we will open the public hearing. No one signed up for this public hearing, so we will close the public hearing. Do we have any questions at this point, or, yes, sir, Commissioner Travis?
I'll make a motion for approval of case 2022-22 with analysis and statements.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Travis, second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Number 9 has been, thank you, Marzie.
Thank you.
Number 9 has been removed, so we're at number 10. Mr. Stover with the school system.
Good evening, Commissioners. Mr. Metzler? Getz? We are requesting to move $195,000 that was approved by the county on February 5th of 2021 to pay for a roof overage at Old Bethany Gym. The cost, when we bid it out, the board approved the project on April 18th, and the cost came in at $249,000 for the roof, plus $12,000 for architect's fees, for a total of $261,000. We are not going to, I apparently left my tongue back in my seat. I may have to start again.
Please relax.
We are not going to replace the main building at Bethany because the fire marshal recommended that it be shut down due to its condition. And so the board voted in their May 19th meeting of this year to close that building down, so the funds are no longer needed for the Old Bethany main building. And we have completed the Old Bethany gym.
Okay. I've got a few questions, but if someone else has any.
Go ahead.
Okay. So in our packet, we had a couple of different things. I've only heard you mention the Old Bethany School at this point. And I think that was, $111,000, I believe, somewhere in there.
Yeah, we have, and we'd like to see the $84,000 revert back to the school capital resource fund to be available for later use.
Okay, that's different than what we had in our packet. That had to be determined, but roof projects, so,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So we're only asking for the 111.
Yeah, and then to revert the rest back for available needs, because we're going to come up with a list of everything, and we'd like to have that, access to that when we have those priorities ready.
So I know, or understand there's been several overages as far as
Significant.
contracts. And I
Yes.
think it's over $1 million in overages as far as all the roof contracts.
Yes,
But you've come under on some projects as well.
exactly.
And the net amount is $400,000 to $500,000. That's a deficit. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm going to make sure, yes, that is correct.
Okay, and so how much, do we know how much we've spent at this point on the roofs that, as far as total dollar amount on the roofs that we are replacing?
Yes. I'm letting Ms. Earl Young, Assistant Superintendent of Operations,
Yes.
has those figures.
Good evening. Yes, we do have some information here. So for the Old Bethany Gym, we've already discussed. There is another project, Stoneville Elementary School, and it consists of 3 roofing projects: the auditorium, primary building, and the kindergarten buildings. The projected cost for those 3 roofs was $481,000. The actual came in at $1,011,000. That was an overage of the $530,000. Those 2 projects alone were over budgeted $641,000.
Okay. Well, as far as the total amount that we've spent or obligated to spend at this point, for all the roofs that you've replaced or are replacing, what is that total figure? Do we have that?
So, I do have it, but what I will do, I don't have it the way that you're asking. What I did was the overages, but I
Okay.
have each one slated by itself, okay? So, Mall Street is $448,000, okay? The 2 roofs at Reedsville High School, $775,485.50.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that the overage or is that the contracted amount?
That's the contracted amount,
Okay,
not the
thank
overage.
Okay, thank you. I
That's
just
why I
want to be
said I
clear.
have that amount, but I just don't have it all together.
And we can get that total figure to.
And I'll
to you
total
as
it
a
for you.
Follow-up.
And so those are the roofing projects. And there was actually another project that was included in the overage that we've already completed, and that would be the Moorhead High School tennis courts. And their actual project cost was $479,400.
I love tennis.
And I guess I was initially.
And we do, I'm sorry,
No, you
but
go
we
ahead.
did take into consideration the over budgeted and under budgeted when we came up with the figure.
Yes, but I believe if that money comes from the restricted sales tax, that would all have to come back.
We have to have it, wherever the funds go to have to be identified, and the commissioners have to approve it based on the identification of those projects.
Okay.
Right, and that's,
So we've got a couple of buildings as far as the roofs, and that was 1.2 million as far as the total cost, and you'll get me the total amount that we spent, and I'm assuming that there's some roofs remaining to be fixed. Okay.
There
'Cause I do believe about 2 years ago, there was a presentation, and I may have the dollar amounts a little off, but it was to fix all the roofs at about 4.9 million. And that was, it never got to us. I believe your board decided not to go that route, and now we're at a point where we're running over quite a bit.
right.
Okay.
So this project was approved by the board. These roofing projects that are running over was approved by the board, their January 13th, 2021 meeting. And then we came to you on January 19th of 2021, and you approved approximately $1,200 in projects to include roofing and intercom and phones. And then the system came back and asked for the Bethany project specifically, and on February 5th, that was approved by this board.
And increased to 1.6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, we all picked up on that. And I guess,
It was $1,200.
I know some of the commissioners have heard from folks in the community asking questions about capital, and just want to address some of that as well. I believe we've got a joint committee that your board and this board agreed to establish, and we've got a meeting. I'm not sure if we have finalized that date, but I believe it's in about 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
And the commissioners, we have been waiting on a list of projects and priority. I know you've had some board members reach out asking us what the holdup, or asking our manager what the holdup was on the county end. And so there's been some talk in the community, at least parts of the community, asking what the holdup is. But I believe, I just want it out there for the public that we're waiting for y'all to finalize a list, which I think you're close to.
Yes, sir.
And then once that list is finalized, it's presented to that committee, and then we move forward from there. But at this point, the county's not holding anything up on capital projects.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. In fact, and most of this is due to transition because I'm in 4 months into the job. Ms. Young is 2 months into the job, maybe a little less than that. And so we needed to understand, we wanted to go and do our own prioritization. And as I said, we just presented our draft recommendations to our 2 facility committee members this afternoon. We'll have a meeting, we'll present them to you ahead of that meeting that we have scheduled, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, transition always slows things down a little bit as far as for the public to understand, and creates a little bit of confusion at times. But I just wanted that out there as far as where we were, because there's all kinds of chatter and folks trying to figure out what's going on. And, but,
Chair.
yes, sir.
If I may, you said we approved this January of 2021. And I assume it went to bid, y'all did some things, but we're talking 22 months ago. I feel like this is not quite timely. And you mentioned the 4 months with you being in and the delay, but I would hope in the future, if we're seeing things run over budget or finding issues, that we would find out about it on a more timely basis.
Yes, sir. I agree. We want to get these projects done. We do have, for whatever it's worth, we put into our contracts for the roofing that they have to provide us with invoices for material cost and justify the overages. And if costs go down, then they're supposed to rebate some of the money. So,
Yeah, I remember seeing some of that documentation, which I thought was good. You know, my concern is that, again, we're 22 months after approving this, just now hearing that it's run over to the tune of $1 million.
Yeah.
I would hope that you would have controls in place to find out about it quicker, and then we would have a good enough relationship where you guys would come to us quicker and let us know what direction things were going.
Thank you. Yeah, these were all approved prior to my starting in July 1. And so we appreciate that feedback, and we will make sure that we keep everyone abreast of what's happening. And I think with the joint facilities committee is a good place for us to do that as well.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Powell?
So my question is going to go back preceding your start date, so I apologize for that. But the Stoneville Elementary School, was the roof over the auditorium, that still has not been fixed, is that correct?
That is correct.
So.
We have the bid, though.
I got you. So I visited that school. I was asked to visit that school back in the early spring or late winter of this year. And that was with Ms. Sandra Parks from the school system at that time. And we saw that that was leaking, and I was told that it had been leaking for 3 years. I certainly hope that going forward, our priorities for repairing these buildings will be a little better itemized in order of importance, because I would think that mold in a class, I also visited a classroom that had mold in it on some food items. So I hope that going forward, roofs take a center stage in need of repair. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So we, as part of our process, we've developed a scorecard for all the projects that take into account, student safety, the number of students affected, and we wanted to have some basis of decision in which to show you, our commissioners, what the behind-the-scenes numbers behind these, why this is important to do it, and what we could, what needs to be addressed immediately, and what we could possibly put on the back burner.
And for instance, you will see when we meet with our joint committee, There are several other roofing projects that are on there, and I'll give you an example of one, Central Elementary School. And then we give the rationale behind the roof. It has leaked before. It has been patched 3 times. The seams are now ripping again. We have removed foliage trees from around the building to try to aid in this. So you'll see that rationale is there as well.
Well, thank you. And yes, that detail is important, as mentioned before, because it went to the school board before and was denied. So hopefully that'll help with moving some of that forward. Yes, sir.
I don't expect an answer from this now, but having contracted buildings, and I'm fairly familiar with this process, and I'm just kind of curious. In some cases, it's 100%, close to 100% overrun. And my question that I know you'll have to research is, how could a contractor overrun by twice without informing the school system or the contracting body? Just a little bit difficult to understand. It's okay. I don't expect an answer now because I know you need to look at it, and it's a process that you want. I'm just getting clarification. What we're doing here tonight is just in regards to the 261.
That's right, just for the Bethany project.
That's down ready to move on that.
Yes, sir. So that's 111,000 is what we're talking about at this point.
And, Mr. Chair, if I could just say, if does the capital projects you're working on now with priorities, does that have numbers with it?
Yes.
If we could get that in advance, and we can get our financial advisors to kind of run different scenarios for you all to consider at the meeting in a couple of weeks?
I don't know that any decisions will be made at that meeting.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know where they are. I think the 2 school board members just got their hands on it, and they may have some discussion, so
We'll hold off on that then for
Yeah,
now.
we plan to send it to you after we meet with our board members.
all right. Gentlemen, do we have any more discussion or a motion?
I make a motion for approval.
Approval?
11,000, not 195.
Yes. Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Travis, second by Commissioner Powell on the 111,000. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Let me just say thank you to Ms. Young and Mr. Stover. We appreciate you guys bringing this stuff to us. I know a lot of this happened before your tenure, but again, I hope in the future we can see this stuff in a more timely basis, and I think we will, so I appreciate your guys' openness.
Yes.
I'm confident we can. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got one question, Lance. We did a motion on 111. Do we need any action for the 84 to come back into the account?
I don't have an answer for that. I would say.
Well,
I'll find out from Pat if we do.
why don't we do this? Can we get a motion to approve receiving the 80? That's the easiest thing.
Just amend my motion to add that.
Include that?
Yeah.
Okay, and you amend your second? Okay.
My
Yeah, that way we've got it.
vote remains aye.
Everybody good with the vote, with that amendment? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Sheriff Page.
Or to our commissioners, county manager, county attorney, clerk. It's an honor to be here today. Sheriff Sam Page, just a little update. First of all, I want to thank you all for your support on the Bethany Charter School Resource Officer has been approved. Also, I can tell you at this point, $1.2 million was received in a grant by the school system, and I want to thank all the school board members that are here tonight, and also our superintendent for their support on this and this partnership with our county commissioners and our county government. But with that $1.2 million, it looks like we're going to be able to get the 13 elementary school SROs. But at this point, I've been out for a couple of days, but I'm going to get back with the county manager and provide him some information on any other information on any other monies needed that support the SROs. So we have the total numbers and everything like that probably in the next few days. So Give me a couple days to get through that, and then I'll get with the county manager, and we'll get that information for you so we can move forward. Once we have all that information in place from the school and from county and from finance and everything, we can move forward. Then we can announce for advertising for hiring.
So I understand, Sheriff, that with the grants, we're making the 17% match as far as the local dollars.
That's correct.
Right?
The school does 83%, and the county does 17%. Yes, sir.
Okay. And I believe that'll give us total coverage for every publicly funded school in the county.
Countywide, elementary school, yes, sir.
Well, I believe you've already got it for middle school. We've
Yes,
got
right.
the
Right, all the
charter school.
Right, all the high schools, middle schools are covered. Charter school will be covered, but this will cover every elementary school in the county.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir. Commissioner Travis.
Is it a way we can put this on our next agenda for approval for the 17%?
Well, I mean, I think he's got to get the information to Lance,
Yeah.
and so that's,
We will have this, Mr. Chair, we'll have this for the county manager just shortly.
It's just very important to go ahead and get this ball rolling for our students.
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't think there's any question, but I mean, it's just a matter of them getting together, and then, yeah.
And I just,
This 2-year, right?
it is a 2-year grant, yes, sir. And I do want to say that, again, I want to reach out and say thank you, thank our county school system for working together on this partnership. This is something well needed, and we've all been working on this program for a long time, getting the extra security. Now, let me say this. Until we get these positions filled, we're still providing extra security, working with the Department of Public Safety. We have support from our probation officers, our highway patrol, our staff are making their walkthroughs, plus the schools are being covered, split, but they're being covered. So we're continuing to work with our schools until we get the positions filled.
Sheriff, I'm assuming that even after they're filled, we'll still have those other departments assisting and filling in and helping us out as much
I
as.
never turn down any assistance. I appreciate our state government helping us out. But again, it has been a great partnership. I'm glad to see them there. They have helped a lot. And yes, we'll encourage them to continue. When I see the Secretary of Public Safety, I'm going to thank him for that assistance and tell him, please continue that.
Yes, sir.
Safe schools, number one.
Thank you for all
Thank-
your work on this, Sheriff.
Thank you. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
New business?
No, sir.
Commissioner comments? Commissioner Travis?
No comment.
Commissioner Powell?
So, to our school system, let me say that we do appreciate what you do. And, Mr. Stowe, I know it's kind of unfair for you to have to stand up here and tell what's happened in prior administration. So, but best of luck to you and your staff as you move forward. We're looking for great things out of our school system. We already have great things out of it. We're looking to move it even forward faster. And so we appreciate you. Also, I think most people probably saw it on the social media, but I was honored to attend a ceremony. PTRC awarded our county manager an award a couple of weeks ago, and so we're very proud of him and the job that he does. We have a good staff here, a good team, and we look forward to what the future holds for Rockingham County. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, I'd like to congratulate our manager for an award. Well done, well done. And tomorrow is voting day, so it's going to be a busy day, so please be patient. But if you've not voted, please do get out and vote. Additionally, this week, we have Veterans Day. So we'd like to honor those who have served in our military, and we appreciate everything that they have done for us. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Richardson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to recognize quite a number of individuals here tonight from the county school system. Sean Stover, and we appreciate all you're doing, and you've made a lot of our meetings, and we appreciate this. I hope it's been useful, and it's certainly been helpful to us. We have two school board members here, Paula Rakestraw and Doug Isley. We thank you folks for showing, and Doug, thank you for recognizing the McMichael girls. That's quite an accomplishment, and I got to see them in action, and they are justifiably proud, and they make the whole county proud. Of course, we just heard from Sheriff Sam Page, and we have a Board of Commissioner nominee who has a really good chance of winning Houston Barrow with us tonight, and also a school board member coming here. So Philip Butler, we wish you well tomorrow. Things are looking pretty good. If I could bet on you, I would. I want to pick on former Commissioner Keith Duncan, who came here tonight. I know Keith well from serving on this board with him, but also Keith has done yeoman's labor for quite some time with mental health in this county as our representative to the LME MCO board, which is responsible for that. Originally, you were within the group over in Winston-Salem, and then later with Cardinal, and now he's serving again in Sand Hills. And the LME MCO is no longer just mental health, it's also physical health. And so folks that rely on public services for mental and physical health need to thank you for your longtime service. So I've gotten to see him in action, and he's very affirmative and represents our county well. So recognition to you for that, if we could. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes, I also want to congratulate Michael girls volleyball team. It's quite an accomplishment to win a state championship. So certainly proud of those girls, and maybe one day soon we can have them here and recognize them. Veterans Day is coming up this Friday. We had a good ceremony yesterday at the amphitheater here on our grounds. It did rain on us a little bit, but it was a good ceremony, and always good to honor those that provide us with the freedoms that we have. We do have the holidays coming up, and Santa is busy at the North Pole, but we need a few elves here in the county. Social Services is seeking sponsorships for adults and children in our county for the upcoming Christmas season. If you'd like to help, you can contact. The phone number is 336-342-1394. For adults, it's extension 7170. That would be speaking with Bridget. And for children, it's extension 7090, and that is Kelsey. So you could sponsor someone that is in the care of Social Services. We always need additional help along those lines to provide those in need with some things that they truly need for the holiday season. And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye. Aye. And we stand adjourned.